Ik sta hier naast Cameron Lee. Het is een groot moment voor mij, want hij is producer van Dragon Age Inquisition. De game waar ik het meest naar uitkijk dit jaar. En ja, daar wil ik toch wel wat dingen over vragen. So Cameron, first of all, how are you?
I'm good. I'm tired.
Tired from talking to everyone?
No, just from lack of sleep from coming over from Canada and walking around the huge Gamescom. So yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Plus, it's been a very, I think, tiring process to make Dragon Age Inquisition. It's almost coming up, so you're at the final stage, which is, I guess, the hardest stage.
Yeah, it is. It's also the most fun stage. At least I find it anyway. It's been 4 years in the making. And you finally get to see the game coming together, and you're putting all the polish on it, and you're running around, and you have no time for anything except the most important things. So it's always go, which I love. So
the game's been in development for 4 years, which is very long.
Yeah.
What was like the goal of 4 years ago? What did you start out? Was it like Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, or what was your vision?
The vision was always to bring this story of Thedas, the next chapter of the story of Thedas, the world of Dragon Age, and to allow the player to be a leader, which is something we've never really done before. And then how do you bring the BioWare Dragon Age sort of story, epic, vast story, into a big open region sort of world with a lot of variety and a lot of interesting things to get immersed in. So that was always the vision, was those two things, like massive open world, big story, and be a leader in that world. And then we looked back at the previous games and went, okay, well, we want to tell a story that's more like Origins, this big, vast story. And
that was a good answer, by the way.
Absolutely, right? You know, like, I mean, DA2 was a very personal story. It was small. Origins was much bigger, and so that's what we wanted to tell in Inquisition. And then the combat as well, we wanted to be slower, more impactful, more difficult, and bring that sense of, again, you being a leader of a small party as well as being a leader of a massive organization with Inquisition.
The leader of leaders is the tagline.
Exactly, that's right, yeah.
So you're an Inquisitor, and, you know, I've seen some story trailers, but the story, you know, you just have to discover some stuff, of course. Yes. But am I right if I say that everyone hates everyone at the moment in Dragon Age? You got the Templar versus the Chantry, and is that true? And the Elven versus the humans, is that like the position you're in?
Yeah, it really is. The world is in absolute chaos, and we've been building that up through the events of the last previous games and some of the novels. And
I read the last book.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's really, you've got civil war going on in LA. You've got obviously the humans and the elves. You know, you've got this massive rift in the sky. You've got mages and Templars battling each other. So the world is in absolute chaos, and the story of Inquisition and the purpose of you as the Inquisitor is to uncover the truth behind what is going on with all this stuff.
And the tears in the field.
Exactly right. So, you know, and as an Inquisitor, or the Inquisitor, and with your Inquisition, you're in a role that allows you to do something about it, whatever it takes. You know, so you bring these people together, I want to uncover the truth and I want to do something about it, despite everything else. Like everyone else, you're not doing anything. You know,
and that's where choice comes in, I guess, because that's where I've got one second, because I've got a question from one of our audience. We asked people, you know, ask question about your favorite game, and we got a question from Nuclear Nemo, and he says, how do the events of Far Cry Origins and Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 have effect on Inquisition?
Yeah, they really do. So a lot of the decisions and actions that have been taken in the previous games play a part in Inquisition. So we've got the Dragon Age Keep, which is the website, which you might have heard about, where you can go in there and you can define your original characters in the previous games, define what actions and decisions they took for the major decisions, and then you can drill down into the hundreds of other small little decisions that you've taken in those previous games. And when you start Inquisition, you can bring that information down and it dynamically changes the world, so it's your world. And then,
so there are also different origins in story.
It's not like Dragon Age Origins where there was like a beginning origin. What Origins did was have a lot of content about your racial choice at the very beginning, and then not a lot throughout the rest of it. So this time we wanted to have more content spread out through the whole story. So we sort of spread that all across. So, you know, if you're a Canary, people are going to react to that differently.
Yeah.
If you're an elf and you go and you try and play a political game in, say, somewhere in Olay, where it's human dominated, it's a lot harder to be successful in that. So that's the kind of reactivity we wanted based on your racial choice rather than just something right at the beginning.
Sounds awesome. I've got 2 more questions. One question is, when I started to be a fan of Dragon Age Origins, I thought it was like Star Wars because with the Grey Wardens and stuff, but then I read about the lore and Dragon Age 2 and the books and the novels, and you know, the Grey Wardens are actually just a small part of the entire lore, but they are awesome. So we want them back.
Well, there are wardens in Dragon Age Inquisition. So, you know, some of the trailers we've put out, you've seen some wardens, and I can't spoil anything about how they are involved in Inquisition, but there are certainly wardens, and they are a badass team. But you know, as you're building up the Inquisition, I think the Inquisition is something that players are going to attach onto, just like they did with the wardens.
Yeah, sure, true. But still, we've got a little bit nostalgia.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a good mix with new and old. Final question: this game is massive. It's large. I heard that the one level they showed on E3 was bigger than the entire world of Dragon Age Origins. Can you give us like an example of the scope of the game?
It's really hard to give you we can't give numbers because it's so hard to measure, right? But absolutely huge. So there is like
well, you could like Fallout games or something. They're also huge. Or the Elder Scrolls. I don't know.
They're comparable to all of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of the above and more.
All of the above. Exactly right. Yeah.
Okay.
But just with a massive Dragon Age BioWare sort of story in there as well. So.
What was the hardest? This is a really funny question. What was the hardest thing to do to get this game up and running and awesome? Give our viewers an example of how hard it was to make this game.
So Frostbite, which is the new engine that we're using for this game, that's an incredible engine. It's a great engine to use, but it was a shooter engine. And so we had to make it into an RPG engine. So things like inventory, saves as we understand saves, cinematic tools, story tools for the writers to write these characters and things. So we had to build all of that and while we were making the game. So that was very challenging.
And was that the reason why it's been 4 years in development? I mean, you got the engine, but you actually had to make your own version of that engine, I guess.
Well, that's right. It's part of the reason. And the other reason why it's taken 4 years is just that we just need that amount of time to make a game this big.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Good luck with launch, and of course, well, you're not going to say anything, but probably post-launch with all kinds of DLC, which is probably coming, but which you're not allowed to tell me. Thank you, Cameron, for your time, and good luck with launch, man.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.